They have told us that the only provision that the black man is qualified to give us is one of money. And we have made finance the major focus of our relationships with them. We have made the one thing that most of them don't even have be the criteria. We have been taught that if they do not give us money, that we are not to even allow them to be a father to their child. We have been taught that if he does not give us money, then he is not qualified to tell us what to do. We have been taught that if he does not give us money, that he doesn't have any rights in the home. It's whoever is making the money who has the rights. That's not our system. The black man provides more in a black home than just financial support. He provides direction, guidance, gratification, fulfillment, and discipline for our children.
So what's making these people so powerful? Family. I destroy the family, I destroy the empire. So they sold your mother one way and your father another way. They destroyed the family. That's what destroyed Africa. So we had to build family. A black man and a black woman in love, raising a healthy child is the most dangerous thing on this planet. We're looking for a gun. The gun is the relationship.
And now for our feature presentation.
Back when the case first started, and I was hearing the craziness from the court officers, you know, the referee, the drunk court attorney, and the judge. It's your word against theirs. I had learned that it's almost no way to get the court recordings or transcripts. If you do get them, you have to pay, and after they take out everything that would incriminate them, then you can get the transcripts and the recordings. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce to you the Honorable Dean T. Kusakabe.
Please clap.
What kind of support is being paid? That there's nothing in the Constitution that guarantees you a 50-50 split. How has that been going from your perspective, Mr. Jones? Mr. Spain, you're the original petitioner chief trust first.
What you mean by how has it been going?
Have you been enjoying time with your child?
No, I don't have enough time according to the Constitution.
Okay, so how has it been going based upon what you have right now?
I'm not understanding what
you enjoy. Has the time been well spent with Israel?
No, it's not what I'm supposed to get. No, so no.
I'm talking about what you're supposed to get right now.
Right, but
I'm talking about what you're supposed to get right now.
Right, but
I'm talking about what you're supposed to get right now.
Right, but I'm talking about the law.
Mr. Spain, you need to. I'm the judge. You need to listen to what I'm asking you today.
And my answer is no.
Okay. So why is it no?
Because I don't have enough time with my daughter.
So how have the visits been going?
I'm not understanding what you're asking me. I'm
asking you how. I'm not asking you what you want. I'm not asking you what you want. I'm not asking you what you want.
You see, I recorded everything. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to prove how I was being handled by these public servants. The only one I didn't record was Tasha McKnight. But her disrespect and lack of people skills is what made me record every court hearing after her. And the funny thing is, she was acting like that towards my daughter mother. You know, a little bit towards me, but my daughter mother. And it's crazy. I mean, what are these people so angry about? Why are they so disrespectful? I'm gonna tell you why. Because you're fucking with their money. But, you know, I recorded everybody. Yep. I recorded Big John Stud. My bad. I met Emily Martinez. I recorded her telling me to be quiet, and the working mother has to have weekend time with the child. It's the law. Those are her exact words. I recorded her ignoring me and telling me I cannot go to trial and I can't see the judge because she needed more information. I asked her, more information about what? And she just straight out ignored me over and over again. I hope they say I never met Drunk Bonnie. I only met this Sarah Wayne that wrote me the fake ass letter. Unless they're the same person, because I recorded every conference with this drunk bitch. I recorded her drunk ass telling me that they don't honor the Constitution in family court. I recorded her trying to convince me to give my holiday time with my daughter to my daughter mother. Oh, I almost forgot. I recorded this alcoholic and my daughter's mother lawyer talking about, their friend who was mentioned by her first name only, who was having a baby at the time. This is a serious conflict of interest, but the entire family cooperation is between friends who has one common goal. If your lawyer and opposing party and the opposing party lawyer goes into a room together without you, you better take your funky ass right in there, right behind them. That's your life and money. What do they have to discuss in private? Last but not least, sugar cunt. I recorded everything that came out of this wicked demon's mouth, like.
So what I want to do is a couple of things. I want to clarify what is it that you're receiving disability for?
That's my private. I cannot disclose that.
Mr. Spain,
I'm not going to tell you that. I have my right to privacy. You can't force me to tell you it's not what's wrong with me. That's my privacy. I have a right by the Fourth Amendment. So now I'm being forced to tell you something that I have a right for.
So what I'll tell you is I can only tell you what the case law is in this area. Okay, the case law in the second department, which is a higher court than me, has held repeatedly and continues to hold that when parents come to court to dispute custody, they place their health at issue. Mr. Spain, so what I want to do is a couple of things. I want to clarify what it is.
I'm not going to put the full-length videos up here, but I did jot down the step-by-step specs to getting justice served. I'm waiting for these crooks to say that I never met Drunk Bonnie and I only met Sarah Wayne, just so I could play the recordings of my encounters with Vincent Price-face Drunk Bonnie. I have already trained my mind, body, and soul to take this fight to the highest court if I have to.
Are you working, sir, at this time? I forget if you were working.
For a year I've been saying I have a disability case.
And we have asked before, and we are asking again to know the nature of the disability, because when the parties were together up until the end of May 2015, Mr. Spain did not have a disability, and we, as the mother, Ms. Jones has the right to know if he has a disability that affects his ability to care for a toddler in his care.
Mr. Spain, that will become an issue after trial, and it's an issue now, but it,
Well, I have a right to my Fourth Amendment, to the Fourth Amendment, so it doesn't
I'm not
matter.
sure what Fourth Amendment you're
Fourth
referring to.
Amendment is right to privacy.
Time out. Did he just say he's not sure what Fourth Amendment I was referring to, or what I meant by the Fourth Amendment? Let me play that again.
Well, I have a right to my Fourth Amendment, to the Fourth Amendment, so it doesn't
I'm not sure
matter.
what Fourth Amendment you're referring
Let me play that one more time.
to.
Well, I have a right to my Fourth Amendment, to the Fourth Amendment, so it doesn't
I'm not sure
matter.
what Fourth Amendment you're
Fourth
referring to.
Amendment is right to privacy.
How many Fourth Amendments are there? And he's a judge, right? Let's finish listening.
Now I'm being forced to tell you something that I have a right for?
So what I'll tell you is, I can only tell you what the case law is in this area, okay? The case law in the second department, which is a higher court than me, has held repeatedly and continues to hold that when parents come to court to dispute custody, they place their health at issue,
Okay.
okay? And what the mother is saying is that you've alleged previously that you are on disability.
Hmm?
And she's asking, she just wants to confirm to make sure that that disability doesn't impact upon your ability to parent your child.
It hasn't.
So that is something that may be very well be true.
Right.
And that's ultimately where the court may land on that issue. But the court has the right, pursuant to case law, to inquire about it.
Well, okay.
And it does, at that point, supersede any right you may believe you have pursuant to the Fourth Amendment.
Time out again. Did the judge just say, no, the Honorable Dean T. Kusakabe did say this? I'm going to rewind it for you.
It does, at that point, supersede any right you may believe you have pursuant to the Fourth Amendment.
We're going to take a look at a treaty, the definition of a treaty, and the government's definition of it. Now, all I did was just Googled the word treaty and look for the definition of treaty. I didn't try to do no Black's Law Dictionary or try to make this more complex than what it already is. Just going to try to keep it nice, sweet, and simple. But the definition, Google's definition for treaty is a formally concluded and ratified agreement between countries. All right. Now, the government's definition for treaty is a formal written agreement between two or more countries or governments. And then you can look at the example that this definition, use for the word treaty. It's two different examples for signing a treaty and a peace treaty. You understand? Now, a treaty is greater than a custody agreement, right? It's greater than, you would think that is greater than a person disability or I'm gonna read this whole page. It says, so treaties cannot trump the Constitution, as many people claim, unless they are put in place as a constitutional amendment. But I found still further evidence of this understanding in the New York's ratification instrument, that is the document which the state of New York drafts, stating what they understood this new binding document upon them to mean. That the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court of the United States or of any other state to be instituted by the Congress is not in any case to be increased, enlarged, or extended by any faction, collusion, or mere suggestion, and that no treaty is to be construed so to operate as to alter the Constitution of any state. But now I'm gonna go down to where it says Maryland. Maryland as well use similar language in their instrument, that no treaty shall be effectual to repeal or abrogate the constitutions or bills of rights of the state or any part of them. Meaning that a treaty which is greater than any custody agreement. Can someone then please explain how does this so-called case law that the Honorable Dean T. Kusakabe speak of supersede the Constitution when a treaty cannot? Why do this judge continue to lie? He don't even know me. Is he hell-bent on not allowing men to be in their offspring's lives? Is that what it is? Is he prejudiced against men? Is he prejudiced against families? What is the reason why this man who has been appointed to be a judge continue to lie? And this is just a snippet. If you look, this is just the beginning of the video. I didn't even get all the way into the other recordings. But let's continue to listen to the recordings, this recording of the Honorable Dean T. Kusakabe.
Context without having to disclose possibly. But if you're before the court and the issue gets raised, I as a judge, based on case law, have the right to inquire.
And I have the right to my privacy.
And I'm telling you that if you do not disclose, then I have the right as a judge. I have the authority to draw what we call our adverse inferences. Right as a judge, I have the authority to draw what we call our adverse inferences. As a judge, I have the authority to draw what we call our adverse inferences. Have the right to inquire.
And I have the right to my privacy.
And I'm telling you that if you do not disclose, then I have the right as a judge. I have the authority to draw what we call our adverse inferences. The issue is just, and so if it's not, and I said my personal position generally is that physical health conditions do not generally do not affect the ability to parent the child. People in wheelchairs, people with physical disabilities can raise their children. The issue is just, and so if it's not, and I said my personal position generally is that physical health conditions do not generally do not affect the ability to parent the child. People in wheelchairs, people with physical disabilities can raise their children. 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 But the question is, what is the issue? And it can just simply put...
It's physical.
So then I need to know what that is.
That's all I can tell you.
So, Mr. Spain, I'm going to leave the conversation here for today for you to think about, because I'm not going to belabor this point today. But I'm going to tell you that if this position on your part continues, the court may have to draw adverse inferences against you, and that would affect your ability to argue the positions that you have. Okay, I just want to leave it there. It's not. We're just talking right at this point. But if it comes to a point where the request is formally made and you choose not to comply with the request of the court to disclose that information, then the court may use that against you. Okay? At that point, then your request for custody and all these different issues becomes seen in that light, and you just have to keep that in mind.
The Honorable Dean T. Kusakabe is a judge, right? Who has authority to make orders, right? So, the Honorable Dean T. Kusakabe could have made an order for my doctors to reveal what my disability is, right? So if the Honorable Dean T. Kusakabe cannot, according to the law, order my doctors to tell him what my disability is, why is he threatening me if I don't tell him?
That's fine, because when it was on the other shoe, it was
So I've
never.
asked you, what would be the basis for it? So
I mean, like I said, no disrespect, I tried to numerous times show the court the evidence that's backing my allegation.
What is it that you're saying is, so what is your offer of proof? I have not heard this, but what is
I did. I told you over and
What is
over.
the
She
offer?
attacked me with knives over and over. I have concrete proof. According to domestic relations section 240, I said it over and over for over a year.
So what is your offer of proof? I have not heard this. So what is your offer of proof? I have not heard this. So what is your offer of proof? I have not heard this.
Before the hearing starts, each party is sworn in.
socialization. You know, fair concern as well. So now the question is, how do we bring this all to a compromise? Because I think that's the bulk of the issue here. Now, what about what about custody?
Can I answer your question? The way that we can bring this to a conclusion is the law. I'm entitled to equal time.
Mr. Sprain, so let me be very clear about this. There is you will not find in any statute, you will not find in any constitution, you will not find in any case law what if parents can't reach this decision about how to share custody. There's nothing that's going to point you to. You will find nothing that says that you're entitled to.
Yes, I can. It's called the 14th Amendment.
If that's what you think, then you can find it and you can bring it to me as authority.
All right.
And that's what you should do.
All right.
Because I will tell you that you're not going to find that. There's nothing that says that every parent, that this is the formula that you have to follow.
So then how is it determined what's the best interest for a child, especially when there's no assessment, no evaluation?
You have to look at all these different factors. I can print out for you a case if you want.
All right, and then we can exchange the Constitution with whatever you're going to print
And
out.
I understand that, and I told you that there's nothing in the Constitution that guarantees you 50-50
today. In this video, we're going to talk about the 14th Amendment, which, as many know, requires equal treatment of all parties and all individuals. Sexism, or gender bias, is so rampant in this court that you can be sure that anyone that says it is not is either ignorant or a liar, or a lawyer trying to protect the system. The 14th Amendment requires that both a father and a mother be treated equally, and decisions not be based on gender.
If you want.
All right, and then we can exchange the Constitution with whatever you're going to print
And
out.
I understand that, and I told you that there's nothing in the Constitution.
How do we determine where we are right now?
Well, see, so ideally, parents would be able to sit down and talk it through about what they think is best for their child. If you can't do that, which may be the case here, then people come to court. And then the court has to look at a whole host of factors. There's no formula that the court is supposed to apply and say, okay, I put in the father's date of birth, I put in the mother's date of birth, I put in the child's date of birth, I put in all these different factors, and it gives me a formula that says, okay, 50-50 here, 40-50 here, 40-60 there. There's no formula to that nature. It's left to the court to have to look at all the various factors to make that determination.
So the law doesn't come into play.
That is the law.
So the law doesn't come into play.
That is the law.
The law is, so if the law is coming into play, then what is the holdup? We've been here
because I think you have a very misimpression of what the law is, and that's what I think you have to sort of you have to accept that. And if you don't, then you just simply would have to take it to the appellate division and have them tell you the same thing, and you can take it to the highest court of the state of New York, maybe to the Supreme Court, and they'll tell you all the same things.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Well, I have, and one part tell me well, I'm right, and then another part says something else. So I'm confused with the law. I know that a fit father, unless you can find something wrong with either parent, has the right to equal time.
And I'm going to tell you again that there's nothing that says that in the case law or the statute.
Okay. Now we determine whether I should get a little bit more time, but not if she should get, in the daycare, should get less time.
It's the same discussion. Right?
No, it hasn't been. It hasn't been.
The court expanded your order of visit, your request based upon this court has expanded your visitation based upon these concerns that you raised. And like I said, I'm not necessarily opposed to addressing it even more. But my question and my real suggestion is that you, Ms. Jones, sit down because there are these competing interests that you have.
Threats. I want you to look at this. This is the order of protection that the same court issued on my behalf against my daughter mother, signed by the Honorable Dean T. Kusakabe. Or is it? So I ask, why would a judge tell someone who has an order of protection against a person that they need to communicate with that person? Isn't that dangerous? That's like leading the sheep to slaughter, or the whatever, how you say, the pigs to slaughter. Why would you do that? Why would a judge, an officer of the court, tell you you need to have a conversation with someone who you have legal court documents to stay away from, that for them to stay away from you? Why would he do that? Maybe it's because I know what I was talking about and they're trying to get rid of this case. But you'll see that further on in the future.
And that's also a legitimate request.
And who makes that determination?
I think ideally, like I said, the two of you should sit down and try to come up with some agreement.
I'm just asking who made that determination on what's best for the child, where the child should be as far as the daycare.
You need to use your ears right now.
I am. I'm asking you because my daughter was put in the daycare without me even knowing.
For you, sir. I'm telling you that ideally the two of you should be able to do that.
We're not getting anywhere. Can we just,
Ideally, you and Miss Jones should be able to sit down because you know your daughter.
Fuck now. Fuck. Oh my god, I should put a fucking bullet in your fucking head, you bitch. Oh my god, I should put a fucking bullet in your fucking head, you bitch. Oh my god, I should put a fucking bullet in your fucking head, you bitch.
So once again, I have to ask, why would the Honorable Dean T. Kusakabe tell me I need to talk to someone who has threatened to murder me?
You're asking who should do this, and I'm telling the two of you should do this.
But obviously we can't. We're here for that.
If your question is who's going to do it, that is why you were here in court, and I'm telling you then I will do that. But I'm suggesting to you that it's better that you and Miss Jones do that because you know your daughter best.
Fuck now. Fuck. Oh my god, I should put a fucking bullet in your fucking head, you bitch.
So my suggestion is that you try to talk, and if not, then we will have to figure out how to make this. I will have to, at the end of a trial, make that determination. I mean, if you're asking who makes that determination, that decision is entrusted to the family court. But as I said to you before, and this issue has come up on prior occasions about you wanting 50-50 time.
So one thing, you're saying there is no law saying that I get 50-50 equal time?
There's nothing in the law that says, I'm not saying that it wouldn't happen.
It's not there.
I'm sorry?
It's not no law. I just wanted to hear you say it.
Yes, there is no law.
All right.
There's nothing that you will find in case law or in statute by statute that says that.
Okay.
Texting me, don't talk to me, I don't have to talk to you. So, it's a lot of time to ask a parent to have no communication or knowledge about what's going on with their child. Whereas when Izzy has issues in Ms. Jones's parish, Ms. Jones does text Mr. Spain to let him know about his
Okay, I want your client to think about it for the next court date.
Can I respond to that allegation?
Not at this time. You and I have been doing a lot of college research. I have to move on to my next case.
I can't respond to my ticket about my daughter being dirty. The allegations about that.
Yeah, I'm less concerned about that allegation. I think that parents have different ways of caring for kids. Not everyone, but I'm more concerned about the lack of ability to
Communicate?
Yes.
Can I respond to that?
I don't need to communicate. I don't need to respond to that. I'm drawing my own conclusions today based upon the past conversation that I've had with both parties here.
Fuck down. Fuck. Oh my God, I should put a fucking bullet in your fucking head, you bitch.
Well, the facts is the facts. I mean,
Mr. Spain, I've already said I don't need to talk about this anymore.
so you just going off of what they say?
That's the end of the discussion.
Can we come back in early November?
I'm just here
And at that time, the witness.
You're not just here, sir.
because I can't even
Mr. Spain, I
respond.
shouldn't respond. The conversation is done. I've already said it's done.
Fuck down. Fuck. Oh my God, I should put a fucking bullet in your fucking head, you bitch.
Back in the daycare.
Back in the daycare. There has been a history throughout this case of Mr. Spain bringing Izzy and picking her up as he chooses.
Has that been happening?
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Spain, I've made it very clear that that is not going to happen. And if it happens, then I'm going to restrict your time. I promise you that. And I've made it very clear that that is not going to happen. And if it happens, then I'm going to restrict your time. I promise you that. And I've made it very clear that that is not going to happen. And if it happens, then I'm going to restrict your time. I promise you that. Mr. Spain.
I don't know what you want me to say. It is what it is.
This is what I want you to listen to now.
I've been listening to you for the longest.
It actually happened, but that's okay. What I'm telling you is that if you violate my order, because we've discussed this issue, that's not to happen. Okay?
Last time we was talking, you said it's daycare. I don't see what's the problem. Now it's a problem.
No, that's not what I said.
Yes, it is. But all right. It is what it is.
I want to add this before, I move on. The Honorable Dean T. Kusakabe said that there is no such law that states a father get equal time as a mother. He said there is no such law that states that. He didn't say it just once. He said it 6 times. Every time he said it, I put a number up. He said it 6 times. The Honorable Dean T. Kusakabe. But let me continue.
Can I say one thing about dropping her off late? I have to carry my daughter during rush hour, take 3 trains during rush hour in the morning, carry her up and down stairs or wait for an elevator, miss trains, and walk down 2 long city blocks during all sorts of weather. So being prompt like that is almost impossible. And also my doctor is in the area, so if I'm in that area around that time, my doctor's appointment, I'm going to pick my daughter up. I never picked up at 10 o'clock, never picked up at 11 o'clock. So after my doctor's appointment, no need for me to go all the way back to the other side of Brooklyn.
The order is at this time going to be continued. It's an alternate weekend, Wednesday at 5 p.m. to 8 and Monday at 8 a.m. Order to pick up and drop off the tiny bumblebees. And that's what I expect to be followed. Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Madison.
Oh, by the way, the next time I drop my daughter off, after the Honorable Dean T. Kusakabe said that he is going to restrict my time with my child, I dropped her off 3 o'clock in the afternoon. He did nothing. See, this is the thing. They want to play that mind game like they have authority over you. It was something I took up in psychology in school, where it was the white jacket syndrome or something like that, where you just respect that uniform or that outfit. I'm not that dude.